Right, welcome to another one of Junckers myth-busting videos, and I'm Richard Redpath, and I'm joined by Richard Aylen, our technical manager. And the myth we are going to bust today, Richard, it's going to be the myth that engineered floors are superior to solid floors.
That's right.
And so that's the main myth, but we're also going to compare the other industries that use hardwood in the production of their products, and they may make a solid and a laminated product. So how true is this myth? So really we need to understand what an engineered floor is. So essentially it's several layers of hardwood glued together. Thank you.
Would you like a piece?
Yes, it's my lovely assistant Richard. And basically are several layers of timber glued together, various species, various thicknesses, and various quality as well. So the top layer in some of them may be as little as 3.5 mil or below, and also some of them may be 6 mil, and again various different types of timber used in between.
Mm-hmm.
So what do we get with engineered floors? Or maybe a better question would be, what do we not get?
Right, yeah, fair question. Well, in terms of the physical product, you've obviously explained that pretty well. It's different layers of wood bonded together, but importantly they're different types of wood, and they're different thicknesses.
Yeah.
Now, different thicknesses of wood and different types will expand and shrink, they'll behave in different ways. Now, in terms of the physical product, as you said, it's different layers of wood. In terms of what the manufacturers are giving you, they're claiming to give you a floor that's got, compared with a solid floor, the same longevity, it's got better stability, and they also convince you that you should pay somewhere pretty near the same price for an engineered floor. Now, if you look at the fact that engineered floors were originally developed to save cost, to make a cheaper floor, because if you've got a solid floor that's made all from hardwood, if you can use less hardwood and replace it with something cheaper, like a softwood or a cheaper species of wood, you can cut your costs. But the way that these are manufactured, they're marketed, is that they have superior longevity and they have more stability. And that's quite a bold move to market them as something better when actually they're basically the result of a cost-cutting exercise.
Yeah.
But, you know, that's a confident way of bringing your business forward, I guess.
But so they play on the word engineered then, don't they?
They do. I think the word engineered, it's got certain connotations.
Yeah.
You know, it implies that you've done something special to it and you've improved, perhaps in the context of our floors and engineered floors, is that, you know, we've taken the idea of a solid floor and we've engineered it into something better. And you hear this in other places too. You know, in the clothing industry, you get engineered jeans.
That famous Levi's advert, engineered Levi's. Yeah.
I'm not sure it means anything revolutionary in terms of manufacturing clothes. It's not our area.
It's a play on words, smoke and mirrors.
I think it has certain connotations, which I think, if you're marketing a product, are generally good. You know, it says something positive about it. I think in our industry, the general perception is that it's the stability is really where engineered floors score. And I think that if I was to pick on where we're focusing on this video, it's the stability. That's the myth that we're going to bust. Now, the reason why people think that, they're told it and they believe it, is because an engineered board has some similarities with plywood. So if I just show you a piece of plywood. Now, a piece of ply has multiple layers of wood. It's the same type of wood throughout, and they're the same thickness. Now, that's a sound idea, because if you bond those together with the grain going in different directions, it gives you a pretty stable sheet material.
Okay.
Still moves, but it's a good, relatively stable board. So the basic idea of bonding lots of layers of wood together. You use the same idea with this, but these are different thicknesses and they're different species of wood, and that's the crucial difference.
Right.
That means that an engineered floor, in terms of stability, is not like plywood. Now,
It's
we
just
know
a claim.
it is,
Yeah.
And it's a good marketing strategy if you can take people along with you, which the industry has, to be honest with you. And I think that's largely because there aren't many solid floor manufacturers, but there are lots and lots of engineered floor manufacturers. So it's basically a numbers game.
Right.
You know, companies like ours, we're one voice
Right.
against hundreds, you know.
Solid floors did come first, though.
They did,
Yeah,
they
yeah.
did for sure.
Nelson didn't go to sea in an engineered boat.
Well, and a lot of them are still going strong.
Exactly.
Long before
Yeah.
engineered floors
Yeah.
arrived in this
Yeah.
country. So yeah, it's. I think that is the myth. If I was to pick, one to focus on, and I would say to people, don't just take our word for it. To go and talk to wood scientists, people like Trada.
Independent specialists.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure they will confirm the idea that different species of wood in different thicknesses bonded together isn't going to give you something as stable as
Right.
plywood. So I think that's what we would focus on. And it's a lack of transparency.
So we're advocating people to be more transparent in,
Absolutely.
No.
Absolutely. I think,
So
yeah.
how does that transparency compare with other industries? Say, for example, let's take the guitar industry that use wood in the construction of their instruments, albeit solid guitars or acoustic instruments. They'll make solid instruments, but they'll also make laminated instruments.
Yes.
So how open are they in their marketing strategies?
Very different. Actually,
Right.
that's a very good choice to compare wood floors with, because as we said at the start, that gluing layers of wood together isn't unusual. It's done for furniture and all kinds of things. But I think if you look at the way that engineered wood floors are sold compared with musical instruments, there are some very good comparisons, and I would say one is pretty transparent and the other a lot less so. So if you take you mentioned guitars, that's a good example. If you want a top class instrument, it will be made from solid wood, and it will cost you a lot more than the cheaper alternatives, and it will sound better.
Mm-hmm.
Broadly speaking, that's the way it works. Everyone in the musical instrument industry knows that. Now, a lot of the larger manufacturers want to expand their markets and reach lower price points. So some instruments they will make with certain parts of the instrument will be laminated wood, several layers bonded together.
Right.
And it may be the top of the guitar, bit with a hole in it. It could be the sides and the back, or combinations of those. And by doing that, they can make a cheaper instrument. There's a compromise because it won't sound as good. But they're honest about that. They're not going to pretend otherwise.
They don't claim anything different.
Exactly. And they don't add other claims like it'll last longer, it'll be more stable.
Yeah.
Hey, you won't have to tune it.
Nice try.
It doesn't
Yeah,
happen,
yeah, yeah.
So largely in that industry, people have different price points, different qualities, and they all know what it's about. They know what they're going to get, and they know what they're not going to get. So I think it's an interesting idea to do a notional swap of marketing teams. So just to kind of illustrate how bad things are, I think, with engineered wood floors, is if you took an engineered wood floor marketing team and swapped them over to a musical instrument company, it's interesting to look at how they would market those instruments. So they would take the laminated instruments and they would say to customers, these sound every bit as good as the solid ones. They're more stable, they'll last longer, and by the way, you're going to have to pay nearly the same price for it as well, because they're that good. They wouldn't get away with it. It just, no one would accept it because people already have knowledge of how things really are.
Right.
But in the engineered wood floor industry, they have that situation that they've created through the way they sell the products. And I think it's really just because that's so prevalent is really why we've decided to make this, to get people thinking, and give us your response on this. We want to know what people
really,
think.
Longevity, you need to ask the question. You've only got a thin layer on top.
Yep.
Stability, you've got to ask the question in terms of what you explained about the differences between plywood and engineered floor. The concept of gluing these layers together, it's a similar thing, but essentially not, because they're different species. So it's just really, it might sound like obvious questions, but it's clever marketing, basically.
It is. I mean, we hear things like engineered floor is 70% more stable than solid, which...
Yeah.
How do you measure 70%?
Or more harder wearing is the one I've had, where...
Yeah.
And I thought, well, it's the same species on top, but you've got softwood in the middle, and so on. But we do other myth-busting videos on stability, longevity, price, and everything. So if you hit subscribe, you can subscribe to all those videos. But I think this is kind of wrapped up this myth-busting video. So if you hit subscribe, like, any comments, questions, we will endeavour to answer them.
Yeah, please get in touch.
Yeah, thanks for watching.
Thank you.